So today we are going to be going over the art of the buyer consultation. Now, this is something that we've talked about before, but we really want to keep emphasizing this because now we're starting to see, Wilfredo, you're getting your own leads, you're getting new YouTube leads. JP, you're doing the same thing. You're growing a channel. You're going to start getting flooded with leads. Jose, Mary, Glenda, all you guys are the ones doing buyer consultations and managing clients and learning to speak with clients. So today we are going to go over the ins and outs of the buyer consultation. I highly recommend get some pen and paper, take some notes. So whenever you have a buyer consultation, you have a whole spreadsheet, a piece of paper that you can look back at and kind of touch on the points whenever you're going through that conversation. So the very first thing, ladies and gentlemen, is why is it important? Why is a buyer consultation important? What is it about the buyer consultation that, why are we even doing it? The reason being is someone's interested in buying a house. Someone is interested in potentially purchasing a home or making an investment. And the important things about the buyer consultation is the first thing, creating expectations. The second thing is building trust. And the third thing is connecting and building rapport. This buyer consultation, when you create the right expectations, everything else is way, way easier throughout the whole entire transaction. Once your client understands exactly how things are going to work, that you are in control of the transaction, that the team is here to support you, they're going to feel a little more comfortable. Now, building trust. People aren't going to work with somebody that they don't like, and especially if they don't trust them. So through this buyer consultation, you're going to build trust in a few different ways that we're going to go over. And then the last thing is connecting and building rapport. People aren't going to work with somebody that they don't like and somebody that they don't trust. So building trust and building rapport, creating a connection with the client is equally as important. In order to win over your client, you need to show that you care. So the first contact. So this is what we're talking about a little bit, or kind of you were asking that question, Wilfredo. What does the first contact look like? Okay. Now we're gonna have three different examples here. So the first one is a team lead. So let's just go ahead and say you guys got assigned a team lead. You're on the Zoom call, or maybe you have a preliminary conversation with them before the Zoom call or before the showings. The very, very first thing with the team lead, and this is just a generalized script, is good day, good morning, good afternoon. This is Wilfredo with the Montiucci Group. It is a pleasure to speak with you. How's your day going so far? That's a nice and simple way to just start the conversation. Open it up. How's your day going so far? Build a little rapport. Talk to them about the weather. Talk to them about where they are. Whatever it is, just build a little bit rapport before you get into the details of what they're looking for. So, good day. This is Wilfredo with the Montiucci Group. It is a pleasure to speak with you. How's your day going so far? After you build a little bit of rapport, you say, "Oh, it's going good. Awesome, awesome. How's your weekend? Perfect, perfect." And then you want to go over and repeat their specific wants and needs from the follow-up boss. Create expectations, and then create expectations on how their showings will go. So, whenever you get assigned a lead, we'll pass it. You get it passed over to you and follow up boss. You want to make sure you understand everything that the client is looking for. You want to read all the notes. You want to listen to maybe the past conversations with that Glenda, Jose, or I have had with them to make sure you really understand what the conversation and communication was like beforehand and what's important for them. It's good to take notes even on the conversations with Glenda and Jose, because you might pick up on something that we didn't put in the follow-up boss notes. So after you have that initial consult, you want to repeat their specific needs. So what will that look like? It'll look like, "Hey, how you doing? How are you, Stanley? This is, so yeah, so if we're starting from there, from number 2, how are you, Stanley? So perfect. Thank you for sharing with me. I'm glad you had a good weekend. So based off kind of what the team and I were talking about, you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in Ocala, Florida. You were interested in D.R. Horton based off our notes here, but you're open to other areas, maybe with no HOA and no CDD. And after that, you go into kind of what the showings are going to look like for them. So hey, so what we're going to do is we're going to start at the D.R. Horton communities, and then we're going to have a few other properties in the Marion Oaks area. And that's a good time where you can, if you're on a Zoom call with them, you share your screen, you open up the map, you kind of give them an idea of where the properties are. You open up your MLS, you show them the properties. Hey, I really like this one because it has a quarter acre. Taxes are going to be maybe around $3,000 per year, which is really low for the state of Florida. Also, you're only going to be about 15-20 minutes from Highway 200. This is where when you're on the Zoom with the client, this is your chance to really just show him how in detailed we are about helping them. So you want to go above and beyond. I like to show them the MLS. I like to give them a good idea of what they're going to be looking at. And then you also want to give them the expectations on how their showings will go. Okay. So, hey, we're going to look at your top 5 to 6 houses. We're going to look at the best communities that fit your needs. And then after that, we're going to sit down and we're going to pick your top 1 to 2 homes. A lot of times you might walk into a place and you already feel connected to that property and you really like it. And then we can go ahead and see what we can do about putting in an offer. But the most important thing is finding that perfect property for you, finding the property that fits all of your needs. From there, don't tell the sales agent, don't tell anybody, just tell me, wink at me, whatever, give me a code. Hey, I really like this property. I want to see what kind of deal we can get. Okay. After we find the property, after we look at your top 5 to 6 options, we find the right home, then that's when I'm going to go back with my team. We're going to have a conversation with the listing agent, and we're going to see what a very aggressive offer is to get you a good deal on this property. Those are the expectations it's good to set with each and every single client that we have. This is for the team lead side. So just a quick recap. Good day. This is Wilfredo. This is JP with the Montiuti Group. It is a pleasure to speak with you. How's your day going so far? Next thing, build a little rapport, talk about their weekend, and then get into their specific needs that you have notes on from Follow Up Boss. Create the expectations for the showings, show them a little bit about what they're looking at, maybe even adjust their showings a little. Like if they say, hey, actually, I don't really like this property. I want something with no carpet. Okay, perfect. Let's look at another option for you. And then after that, you're like, hey, perfect. So just want to give you a good glimpse of what the showings are going to look like. We're going to meet at this property at this time, and we're going to go look at your top 5 to 6 options. Boom. And then go from there. Now, cold calling leads. So cold calling leads. If you are cold calling, if you have some leads that didn't enter from the Follow Up Boss, maybe you have some Google ads running, maybe the team is providing some leads, some cold calling leads. This is a cold calling script that has been proven and repeated that it works. So good morning, good afternoon. This is JP from the Home Search website. We saw that you were checking out some listings in the Orlando area. Just curious, were you looking to buy within the next 3 to 6 months, or were you just browsing? Spelled word wrong. So repeat it one more time. Good morning. This is Wilfredo from the Home Search website. We saw that you were checking out some listings in the Orlando area. Just curious, were you looking to buy within the next 3 to 6 months, or were you just browsing? Whatever they say. So we give them 2 options at the end of this cold call. Okay. We give them, hey, are you looking to buy within the next 3 to 6 months? Or were you just looking at properties? Whatever they say, if they say, hey, yeah, I'm looking to buy in the next 3 to 6 months, or if they say, hey, I was just browsing, the answer is the same every single time. So if they say, hey, I'm looking to buy within the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, perfect. What are you kind of browsing for? What are you looking for? If they say, hey, Were you just browsing? Or if they say, hey, yeah, actually I was just browsing. I'm curious, but I'm not looking to buy. I was just browsing. It's the same thing. Okay, perfect. What were you browsing for? Just curious. So either way, the answer is the same. What were you browsing? Cool. What were you browsing for? Or better yet, hey, that's exactly what the home search website is for. Just curious, what are you browsing for? You can answer that to each question, and then you get into more and more details with the client. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, if this is a personal lead, Wilfredo, you just got your first YouTube lead last week. JP, you're getting leads. Roger, he has his YouTube channel up and running. If you have your own personal lead, it could even be a referral from a friend, a family, whatever it is. It's a very simple start to the conversation. You build a little rapport. Hey, how you doing? Oh, awesome, awesome. So tell me, what's your story? What do you have in mind to do? What is it that you and your family are looking to do? Tell me about your plans. That's typically the best way to start the conversation. You put the ball in their court. You don't just start bombarding them with questions. You open the conversation for them to let them tell you what they're looking for. So perfect, perfect. Okay, awesome. So Steven, tell me a little bit about what you're looking to do. What do you have in mind? So Wilfredo, if that lead came in, he liked that property, you know, the way I would have overcome, he's like, hey, I like your, if let's just say he said, hey, I like your video. I'm curious, where's that property located? Before you just go ahead and give him the address, you want to say, oh, hey, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Before we get into the nitty gritty of that specific community, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to buy, move within the next 3 to 6 months? Tell me, what do you have in mind? So you redirect that question. And a lot of times, if someone asks you a direct question, you don't always have to answer it. You can redirect. If somebody asks you a personal question, and this is just in life, a personal question that you don't want to answer or you want to keep private, you redirect. So the way you always want to start the combo is put the ball in their court. Hey, tell me, what do you have in mind to do? Do you like this community? Tell me what's kind of your plans right now. It'll be a red flag if they're like, hey, actually, no, I don't want to talk. I just want the property address. That's a red flag. From there, I would be like, okay, no problem. I'd be more than happy to set up an appointment with you, but first I want to see how we can best help you, and I just have a series of questions that, we can make sure we can do that, to get you the best representation. And if he's still saying no, 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 pues from there, it's probably he's working with the realtor or something like that. And I'm very straightforward, like, hey, okay, I don't mean to step on anyone's toes. Are you working with the realtor right now? Um, because at the end of the day, you also want to set standards for how your business is run. If someone's not willing to even have a conversation with you and is just demanding something from you, you want to have respect for your business and also for yourself that, hey, I'm not just gonna do that. Have a conversation with me, at least, tell me your name or whatever it is, and we'll go from there. So you'll get better and better overcoming those objections as time goes on and you become more confident in your business. But from the start, you just want to ask them, what's their story? What is it that you plan on doing? Okay. That's how I start. That's how Glenda, that's how Jose, and that's how we start our personal lead generation conversations. Now from there, you have the 4 W's. Okay. These are things that you need to know. These are absolute musts that you need to know. Now, you don't want to just go out there and say, okay, tell me, where are you looking to move to? What are you looking for? You want to be a little more crafty with this. You want to learn little by little, finding a way to just make this flow within the conversation. This is kind of like, training any type of sport. This is like training any skill, really. At first, you're going to be very structured. You're going to know your questions and you're going to ask them. But then you're going to you're gonna fill it in with all these other questions. It's gonna be more like a conversation with the client than an interview. That's the goal with all of these questions in the buyer consult, is create a conversation where you're gaining information about them, and letting them speak about themselves, but at the same time, you're asking them important questions. Okay. The more it feels like a conversation, the better you're doing. But these are absolute must. So the first thing is, where are you looking to move to? So hey, so what's drawing you, or where are you looking to move to? Okay, perfect, perfect. You're looking to move to Orlando. What's kind of bringing you to Orlando? What do you like about Orlando? Oh, I want to be close to Disney. My kids love it. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So is there a specific, kind of time constraint that you want to be from Disney, or is there a specific range that you want to be away from Disney, like within 20, 30 minutes? You get into where they want to be. Okay. You want to really be able to pinpoint that, because if they're like, hey, actually, I can be an hour away from Orlando. Okay. That broadens where we can look for him. Okay. So in the back of your mind, when you're asking this question, you already want to have an idea of where we can potentially put them, where we can potentially find them a home that's going to fit all of their needs. The second thing is, you want to go, okay, perfect. So you're looking in the Orlando area within 1 hour away from Disney. And tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what's the square footage? What are the must-haves that the home needs to have? Tell me about your dream. You could just say, hey, tell me about your dream home. How many bed, how many bath, tell me everything. You need to know what they're looking for. And then they'll tell you, oh, so 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 3,500 square feet in Windermere. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. And then, so you have that information. Before you go to the next question, I always ask, hey, is there a absolute must have that you need the home? Like, is there something that the home absolutely needs to have? And from there, that's a really good question, because a lot of realtors don't ask it. What are the must-haves in this specific home for you? A lot of times, hey, I need high ceilings. Hey, I need a 2-story home. Hey, I need a fenced-in backyard for my dog. Hey, I need an open floor plan. Hey, I need a gourmet kitchen. Hey, I need granite countertops. Whatever it is. Hey, I need a master bedroom downstairs. What are the must-haves? When? This is a great question to open their minds up to really picturing themselves in this home. So when? So in a perfect world, tell me, when would you like to be moved into this property, just sitting on your couch, relaxed with your family? Or if you get a vibe that maybe, whatever activities they like to do, whatever it is, you could just say, hey, in a perfect world, when would you like to be sitting in your new home, relaxing in your back patio, watching the sunset? Create an image in their head of them already living in the property, of them already moving into the property, living there. Create that image in their head. Okay. Last thing is why. Okay, perfect. So, what is motivating you to make this move to Orlando? That's probably the most important thing, is their motivation. What is motivating them? You need to remember this, ingrain this in your memory of this specific client, of this specific customer, because this is what's going to be the driving force as to why they buy. And if in the future, in the transaction, this is always something good to go back to, and also show the client that you understand their motivations, that you understand what they're looking for. So what is just curious, you're moving from New York, what's motivating you to make this move down to Florida? Oh, it's too damn cold up in New York. Okay, okay, fantastic, fantastic. Is there anything else? Is it the cold? Is it the good weather that's really bringing you down here? Oh, it's so expensive. It's a lot of times clients from New York, from Miami, from Cali, they're like, hey, the finances, the politics, the atmosphere, the weather, whatever it is. But those are the main topics that you're gonna see that people are moving for. But it's good to understand why. Sometimes it's job relocation, sometimes someone's getting married, whatever it is, you need to know why. Now, those are kind of the questions that you absolutely need to know um, about in order to help them. But there's more to it. This conversation, you need to be connecting. You need to be having a conversation, like I said, not an interview. So there are a couple important things to understand with connecting with your client. First, the customer should be talking the majority of the time. Secondly, connecting means understanding the reason why the client is in the market while getting to know the client on a personal level. Thirdly, you should find a good mix of business and non-business related conversations. Focus on non-business close to 50% of the time. And then fourth, listen and be genuine. I'm going to repeat those really quick so we can reiterate. So the customer should be talking the majority of the time. We want to ask good questions that open up the clients to speak to talking about themselves and their personal lives. Secondly, connecting why the client is in the market. And that goes back to the past question. Why are they looking? Why is this important? Why is this move important for them? The third thing, find a good relation ratio of business to personal conversation. Okay, you can go back and forth. Whenever someone brings up a dog, I'm like, no way. Tell me about your dog. Tell me a little bit about your puppy. What kind of dog is it? And then I'll tell them about a story about my dog. It's a very easy way to connect with the client. And then you ask like, hey, do you need a backyard for your dog? Like, do you want him to be able to run around, or do you want a dog park close by? And then the fourth thing, listen and be genuine. Those could probably be the most important. Those could be something incredibly crucial throughout this whole process. Because if they hear you're just kind of like just trying to get these questions and you're not really being genuine with them, they'll feel that. They'll hear it in your voice. They'll see it in your eyes. So listen and be genuine. Become genuinely interested in helping them and finding out what they need. You are asking questions for a reason, so don't be disrespectful by seeming uninterested. The fifth thing, you can talk about yourself when there are common topics of conversation. For example, if your client is talking about how they love their dog, you can chime in talking about yours to be relatable. Like psychologically, you will become more likable if you have similarities with the client. So be sure to mention them when they arise. So if there's something similar about the client, like so Alfredo, when with Tina, she was from California, you guys immediately connected on that. Oh, what part of California? Nice. I'm from Malibu, or I'm from San Francisco, wherever it is. You guys connected on that level. Perfect. So what's bringing you from California? And then you get into their why, and then you tell them your why. Hey, that's so interesting. I actually moved from California because I couldn't afford paying tax like 20 grand a year in taxes over there, or I couldn't, we were paying too much state income tax or whatever it is. So that's where you can kind of get into your story about why you made that move. And even if it's someone from New York, you can get into they're moving from another state to Florida. Tell them about your experience of moving to Florida, what you love about it, what to expect, what were some of the things you overcame, and what were some of the adjustments you made. That's a perfect time to get connected with them. Now, there are a few other connecting points, just to have some connecting points there. And the first thing is their family. Find out about their family. Who are they? Who are you moving with? Any kids? Any pets? So the first thing is family. Second thing, occupation. So what is it that you do for work? Do you like what you do for? Everybody we do a conversation, I have a conversation with, I'm like, hey, so tell me, what do you do for work? And then they'll tell you, oh, I've been a truck driver. Oh, okay, cool. Do you like what you do? How long have you been doing it for? How long have you been doing it for? And do you like what you do? And people open up about that. They'll tell you, yeah, I love it. Or hey, no, not that much, but it's necessary, or whatever it is. But it's questions like that. They don't hear that every day. Nobody asks them if they like what they do for work. They just do it. The third thing is recreation. So great question. And this is a great question to have right after you talk about occupation, is just curious. When you aren't hustling and bustling, when you're not at work and you kind of have a full day off, What do you like to do on your off time? That's a great question that gets a client to think. It gets a client to kind of puts their mind at ease a little bit. So what do you like to, oh, I like to go fishing. Oh, that's awesome. You like salt, do you prefer saltwater or freshwater fishing? Just curious. And then ask them about the differences and let them talk about it. Let them talk about something that they're passionate about. And then dreams. So this is a funny one. I never you you know, I you don't want to go in there like saying, "Hey, so tell me about your dreams. What are your dreams?" You know, it can come off a little weird, but if you are having a good conversation with them, you could more than dreams, you could talk about your goals. Like, hey, so you're making this move, you're coming down to Florida. What's kind of your goal with everything after you buy your house? That's kind of more of an intuition question. Once you establish, if your conversation is going really well and you feel like you're connecting really well with them, you'll know if it's maybe I can take this question to the next step. This is a great connecting question if you feel like the conversation is ready for it. Any questions so far? Okay. Perfect, perfect. Now, after you get through this, after you get through the four W's, you connect with them through the Ford method or just kind of having that natural conversation. You've kind of established that you care, you've connected with them, they trust you, they're responding to you in a positive way. This is where we go to the next step. But before we go to the next step, we need to repeat every single thing that they spoke to us about from start to finish. So what it would look like is, okay, perfect, Stanley. So just kind of want to recap on everything we talked about. So you're looking, you want to move to the Orlando area, be within 1 hour of Disney for your family, for your kids, the house you want. You're looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,500 square feet in Windermere. You have a nice dog, you have a nice golden retriever, so you want a big fenced backyard for him. You also want an open floor plan, 2-story home, and you're kind of moving because it's a little too cold up north and you want to save some money on taxes and on your 401k. Does that sound about right? When you repeat everything they told you and to the T, so you'll have notes like if it first of all, if you're doing the consult, you want to open up your follow boss, plug them in the system and start writing notes right away. So you can just go off the list like, hey, ba 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 ba. And then after you repeat it to them, hey, how does that sound to you? Is there anything that I'm missing in there? And they're gonna be, actually, that's it. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect, perfect. Then you can go to the next step. But once you do that, it'll show that you're listening and that you care. And this next topic that we're going to go into, if they don't feel like you're there for them, if they don't trust you, if you haven't connected with them, this is where you could lose a client when you start talking about the finances. If they don't trust you or if you haven't connected with them well enough, this is where things could get difficult. But this isn't a crucial part. And that's why the first part is so important so that the second part works out easy. So make it as fluid as possible. So perfect. So this house that you're looking for, were you thinking about paying cash or were you thinking about financing? You always want to ask cash or financing. Most people are going to finance, but don't just assume it. Because there have been times in my personal experience where I have asked, okay, so hey, tell me, are you looking to finance and are you pre-approved already? Or hey, what's your credit score look like? And I've offended somebody that way. Like, hey, why do you assume I'm just financing? I'm actually paying cash. So don't ever assume, don't ever, say, hey, don't assume at the end of the day. So cash or financing, if they do say cash, you say, okay, perfect, perfect, fantastic. That makes things a lot simpler. You then want to transition asking for proof of funds Or you want to ask them, hey, okay, perfect. Is this contingent on the sale of a home, maybe, or anything like that? Do you have a home to sell? Or are you free and clear? You're just paying straight up cash. Those are important. If they have a home to sell, or if they already just paying in efectivo, and just straight up. If they have a home to sell, we want to get into the topic of, hey, fantastic. So just to give you a background, whenever we find that perfect property, we're gonna need, we're gonna either need your home under contract at the very minimum on the market, in order to get you under contract on another property. Most builders, most sellers are only going to accept a cash offer with the contingency to sell if the house is already under contract for the sale. Okay. Any questions on that? Perfect. Financing. So now we're going to get into the financing questions. So let's just say, hey, yeah, actually, I need help with the pre-approval. I'm not approved. I'm looking to finance a home. Perfect. So what I can do for you right now is ask you a series of questions, that can kind of see where you're at, getting financed, getting approved, and then I can pass this information along to my lender who can help you out. Do you already have a lender you're working with, or would you like me to, help you with that as well? Perfect. You don't want to just tell them, hey, I'm going to connect you with Roberto. Hey, do you already have a lender you're working with, or would you like to work with our trusted lender? His name is Roberto, best in Central Florida. We've worked with him. He has over 20 years in the business. If you what I like to say is, if you like the way I work, if you like the way I do business, you'll love the way he does business. He's even better than me. So that's how I like to promote or just kind of get into that. And after that, perfect. So let me just go ahead and ask you a few questions, and I can actually give you an estimated, approval amount just off these questions. So first and foremost, tell me about your credit. You want to get their credit. You want to get their monthly debts. And when I mean their monthly debts, this is going to be their car payments. This is going to be their student loan payment. This is going to be their credit card payment, child support payment, what HELOC, whatever type of loan that they have. This is something that you need to add into their monthly debts. It's not their total loan amount. It's only their minimum payments. Okay. Minimum payments. Cash to play with. So I always have the third question is like, okay, perfect. So right now, how much cash do you have to play with, for the purchase of this home? Okay. It's I found that's the best way to ask it without being rude. By saying how much money you got, you know. So hey, for the purchase of this home, how much cash do you have to play with, more or less? The fourth thing and the last thing is, okay, perfect. So right now, what is your monthly income
I
right?
have Renz, I just wanted to add something because I find it better whenever you want to ask for the cash is
Yeah, go ahead.
when you're asking them the characteristics of the house. You can always ask them just the price range that they want to stay at, and they will feel like you're asking just that because of the research and not asking about. I don't know. I think they always go like really honest when you're asking for the price range.
Yeah, yeah, as well. And that's important. You want to make sure you know kind of what their price range is, and we're gonna get into that as well. But everybody develops a style. Like Jose, you've developed your own style on buyer consultations. Glenda has her own style, and everybody's gonna grow their own style, because no conversation, no consultation is ever gonna be the same. Each client, there are gonna be some people who go ahead and tell you everything from the start, and you're just there listening. And all these questions that we just went through, they'll tell you every single answer on off the bat. And that's where you got to get crafty. And that's where it's almost more about just asking them questions that connect. Because they told you everything you need to know. So it's more about connecting at that point in time. Like bah, bah, bah. So, and then back to this monthly income. You want to see what their monthly income is. You also want to ask if they're on W-2 or if they're on 1099. If they're on W-2, they need at least 2-year work experience. If they're on 1099, it's the same thing, 2-year work experience. But also what their income was after deductions. Because us realtors, we're on 1099. You know, we're all running our own business right now. So Wilfredo, JP, Roger, myself, we're all on 1099. So what that means is we can write off deductions on our taxes for the gas, for the food, for the expenses that we have in our business. So if somebody tells you I'm on 1099, I made 100K, okay, perfect, perfect. So just curious, out of that 100K, did you make any deductions on your taxes last year for any deductions, business deductions on your taxes? So you want to use the amount that they after deduction. So if they deducted 30,000, you want to use 70,000. Okay. Now, if they give you the yearly income, you divide it by 12 to get their monthly income. Okay. Now, here's the formula to kind of see if they can get approved. Right off the bat, first thing you want to know is if they're over a 600 credit score, we can get them approved FHA. If they're not over 600, then we have to get them in touch with Roberto to see what we can do to get their credit raised. Roberto and the mortgage company, they have a credit simulator. So like, hey, if you pay off this, we can get your credit to this point where you can then qualify for a conventional or FHA. In order to qualify conventional, you got to be 660 and above. Let's see. And yeah, so next thing is the formula. The very first thing is get their monthly, hold on. This is supposed to be their income. So monthly income and divide it by 2. So you want to get their monthly income and divide it by 2. Now, if it's 2 people going on the loan, if it's a husband and wife, you want to get their combined monthly income and divide it by 2. The next thing you want to do is subtract the debts from 50% of their monthly income. So that monthly income that you did divided by 2, that's 50% of their monthly income. So you want to subtract the debts from that 50% of their monthly income. So let's just go ahead and say you did the math there, and they make $5,000 husband and wife together. You divide that by 2, that's $2,500 per month. And then you want to subtract the debts from that amount. So let's just go ahead and say they have a car payment, which is 600, and they have a credit card for 100. You want to subtract 2,500 or 700 from 2,500. So you're going to subtract their monthly debts you're going to subtract their monthly debts from their 50% of their monthly income. And once you have that number, you're going to divide it by 0.007. That's going to give you a rough estimate as to what they can afford, as to kind of where they are pre-approval wise. And whenever you get that number, you almost want to give them like a range, like, hey, this could be 20, 30,000 below or above. It really just depends on the rate, taxes, insurance, and a few other things. Rates, taxes, and insurance are other variables that could make it go up or could make it go down. And that'll give you the estimated approval amount. Now, this is an estimation. We are not lenders. This is just kind of based off our experience, where we feel you're going to be on the pre-approval amount. What I typically do is whenever I get that number, I typically say, hey, so based off your numbers, you're going to get approved for probably around 400, 420. But whenever you get that amount, you do the calculation. I typically take off like 20, 30,000 just to be safe. So if somebody runs the numbers, it gives you like a $500 or $450,000 estimated approval. I tell them 420 or 420, 430. And now we're going to do a practice test. So if you guys are there, we're going to do a practice test here. This is for any agents and commercial team. Their yearly income is $83,500. Their monthly debts is $832 per month. What is their estimated approval amount? I'll give you a second here. Wilfredo, I see you working on it. Let's
Yeah.
see what you get.
Say that again, please.
So it's here on the screen. Their yearly income is $83,500. Their monthly debts are $832. You got it, Glenda?
I think so.
Write it in the chat.
Okay.
Let's see what you got. What you got, Wilfredo?
I got 378, 166.
There you go.
They're
There
the
you go.
same.
That's it right there. So once you get that number, from there you can say, hey, I would go 350, 345. That's what I would tell them estimated approval just to be safe. Rates are a little higher. So this average was kind of when rates were at like 4 to 6% with kind of like higher insurance, taxes were like 4 or 5,000. But this will give you a good estimate. So I typically will take off 20, 30, just to be safe. But you could give them a range. Hey, anywhere from 350 to maybe 400, just depending on the property, taxes, insurance, etc. Perfect. Now, the final steps. And this is something you want to master. This is something that you want to just make it a habit right off the bat. Is you want to go revise everything with them again, tell them exactly what they're looking for, the financing, what we think they could get approved for. And then you want to solidify two final things. Okay, perfect. So we have everything in order. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a home search for you with the specific properties that you're looking for. I want you to pick out your top 3 to 5 options so then we can schedule showings for you. When is the best day that you're going to be available? Boom, Monday. Perfect. Now, before Monday, what we're going to need to do is to get you pre-approved. The reason being is we just did a kind of a quick estimation on your approval, but we also want to be very clear on what you can get approved for because you don't want to waste your time going to the property and then for some reason after you find the dream home, maybe you can't qualify or something like that. It's happened to me in the past and I don't want it to happen to anyone else ever again. So what we're going to do is connect you with my lender. When is a good time for him to give you a call? Can he call you now actually? And that's where you either get Roberto on the line or you send a 3-way text with Roberto. And then Roberto will text him and schedule a time to speak with him. Okay. So you always want to set the final two. You always want to do these final 2 steps. Hey, okay, perfect. We're going to set you up with a few list of properties. I want you to pick out your top 3 to 5 homes that we can take a look at. When are you available to look at them? Perfect. On Monday. Awesome. Now, before then, also want to make sure you get pre-approved. We can kind of get your interest rate locked in. We can kind of see what your estimated monthly payment's going to be. When is a good time to connect with Roberto? So you guys could talk a little bit about the financing and also educate you on any questions that you may have. Three-way call, three-way text, coordinate that. And then the ultimate goal after every conversation is to set an appointment, whether it's a showing, connecting with a lender, a follow-up call, office appointment, or a simple cup of coffee. Always set the next appointment. And you can do that on Follow Up Boss by going here. Then you hit a task, follow up, date, time, boom, create task. That'll connect directly to your calendar as well if you have it linked up to your Follow-Up Boss. So that is what we got for today. Any questions? Any thoughts, questions?
Yeah, Renzo, I have a
feedback?
question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So it said that you just said that to list find homes for the buyer. So and then get them pre-approved. So what if you look for homes and you send them the homes, but then after they talk to Roberto and then you get a number and then the homes you sent them don't fall in that number?
Okay. What do you think would be the solution there?
I mean, I would say you would contact your client and say, so I see you're pre-approved. So at the beginning we were looking at these prices, but now this is where your range is. So we have to do like another search, and I'll basically like let's say the first list, you were looking at houses 50,000 over their what they were pre-approved for, and then you connect with the client, and I would say, the houses I sent you were above your pre-approval. Let me do another search, and we'll find houses within your criteria.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. That's what you want to do.
Okay.
But and whenever you have this type of scenario, you want to make sure you're really giving them like in the softest way possible. Like, hey, I talked to Roberto. So it looks like, we kind of overextended on the pre-approval and kind of the price range. Looks like you're approved right now for about 300,000 instead of 350. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to reduce the price on the search, maybe get it up to like 310, 315 on the MLS, because I know we can negotiate a good deal for you, get your closing costs covered so it makes it a little more affordable. So I'm going to adjust the search for you, and let's just revise it, please. Let me know your top 3 to 5 and see if there's anything that really catches your attention, and go from there. So that's a conversation. Like, you don't want to be too direct. You want to kind of be like, hey, unfortunately this happened, but hey, we still got a plan for you. We still have solutions for you. Okay. But that's a great question, brother. It's a great question. Okay. That's what we got today. We're going to be uploading this to our new YouTube channel where you're going to be able to revise all our past videos. And yeah, so if you ever want to brushing up again on the buyer consultation, if you ever feel like you're lost, or maybe, hey, I just need a little bit of guidance, you can go back to this video, kind of recap a few things, and keep building and getting better and better on your buyer consultations. This is just like going to the gym and trying to build muscle. This is just like any other discipline. You have to repeat it in order to get better. More consultations you're doing, the better you're going to get. So, and then that goes back into your dollar productive activities. What are you doing to get lead sources, open houses, cold calling, door knocking, YouTube videos, Instagram content? These are all different dollar productive activities that we need to be implementing in order to get the lead generate for you in your business, to get lead gen, to get leads flowing in. Okay. So this is one of the most important steps. Doing this buyer consultation changes the game. That's why Glenda and Jose are so, we're heavy on focusing on making sure we're giving a good buyer consultation. because we know how important it is for everybody. So when you get those personal leads, if you're cold calling, put a lot of emphasis whenever you have whenever you're on the phone with a client. Doesn't matter if you feel like crap. It doesn't matter if you're on top of the world. You want to give that same energy. You almost want to flip a switch. Like, hey, all right, I'm having a consultation. I need to be high energy. I need to be confident. I need to be speaking with clarity and making sense of exactly what I'm speaking about. And I need to connect with this client. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna leave with you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, Fredo, we have a one-on-one over Zoom at 2 p.m. I'm not, did you see the Google invite?
No, I didn't see it, but
Yeah. So I sent it over to you. Just let me know what you can if you can make it or not. Just want to talk about like the next steps with Marie and this new contract that you have, okay?
yeah, I was gonna actually see if you were in the office today, but yeah, I mean we could do it over Zoom. So yeah, I was gonna connect with you and see what the next steps were anyway. So that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Perfect. So yeah, if we can I'll be in the office soon. I'm gonna go to the hospital, say hi to Austin, and then I'll be in the office. I might have to go to a Cal at 3:30. So worst case scenario, we'll do it over Zoom. Okay.
So Renzo, I was thinking about going to the office for Margie's, Spanish class at 12. And if it lasts 2 hours, then can I just meet you at the office and do that too in person?
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds
All right,
good.
perfect, perfect.
Awesome. Sounds good. So let's let it rip. Let's get it going. JP, you feeling better? JP's out cold. He's sleeping. But hey, well, JP, I
I'm
hope
a
you
little bit better, bro. I'm a little bit better.
okay, okay. Well, sounds good, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. We got a big week ahead of us. And yeah, so Wilfredo, I'll see you in the office at 2, and then we'll get it going from there.
Perfect.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Let's see.